Today was such a good day. For one, I'm home. And I haven't been able to come home and just be here for about 3 months, I guess. And that's a big deal for me because I'm so close to my family. I'm just used to being with them, or at least being near them. Like my mama, my daddy, they gave up their youth to be parents. They didn't miss anything in our lives. They were present. They made a home for us. And we didn't always have material things, but we were raised to care about each other and to take care of each other, to depend on each other. And we could depend on them. They taught us that by showing us that in the way that they loved us. Being home now is the sweetest gift. Even when I first moved home after moving out of, or after graduating from Clark, Atlanta, I first moved home. It was almost 6 years ago now, and I was cool with it because I had accepted this job in Dallas. I was supposed to be maybe in Vidalia for 2 months, and then I was supposed to move along to Dallas. There were certain things that needed to be done in order for me to take the job. I accepted the job, but there were some tests that I had to take, and I only had one opportunity to pass the test because I got hired on their final deadline. So if I didn't pass the test in the time frame that they gave me, then I would have had to delay my acceptance into their program for a year and then try again. Well, I was hell-bent on moving. I was hell-bent on getting out. And so I ain't trip about being home for a little bit because I was supposed to go. Well, long story short, I didn't go because I didn't pass the test. And I was so devastated, but I was running from something. I was definitely avoiding a healing phase when I was getting ready to go to Dallas, or when I was trying so hard. I was working overtime, trying to make this happen. I ain't have anywhere to live. I never even seen Texas before. The furthest I ever been from home to stay was Atlanta. And my family wasn't with it. They did not give me their blessing to move to Dallas, but I was going to do it anyway because I just didn't want to be here. One, I didn't want to get stuck. I was worried about getting stuck. And then two, like I said, I just, for all the grief we dealt with my senior year of college, we, meaning my family, the entirety of my family, grandparents and their children and down to us, I did not want to deal. I just didn't want to go through. I did not want to talk to God. I did not want to try to understand why we were going through some of the ugliness that we were experiencing. And I think, for a lot of believers, we might get to that point where, like Job in his story, when you doing all you can by grace to walk upright, and still you selected for hardship. And it's even as I studied Job, God selected him for the hardship, something that he's supposed to be proud of. And it's something that I feel like he can be proud of. God trusted him just as much as he trusted God. But him losing his children and his home and all of his wealth, I know that stung. It had to hurt, even though he never cursed God. When he was being stripped down, it didn't feel good. And I don't know how I felt about being a Job, or my family being a Job in our situation. What we were asked to go through, I guess it would be similar to that. It would be similar to Jesus being called to the cross. What you want us to do is walk as innocent, but receive a penalty as if we're guilty. People want to shame us and you want us to be humiliated, or maybe even not that God wanted us to be humiliated, but that's what was going to happen. That's what happened. That's what came with the journey. That's what came with the walk. We experienced an indescribable grief. And for me, at that point in stage of my belief, it was accompanied with betrayal. I was upset. I was angry with God. And so when the time came to graduate, I was running. I know I was running. I was grateful for the job because I didn't want to go right back into school. But I was also just not trying to sit in the place where I would be reformed. And I didn't get to go to Dallas. I had to sit my behind right at home because I didn't have a job. I didn't have a master's. I wasn't lined up to go to school. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a backup plan. So I ended up being right here in my mama's house. And for a second, I hated it just because I felt so disappointed in myself. Like, there's so much more potential here. Like, what you doing at home? Like, why can't you figure out your next step? And it's so crazy how 5-6 years later, God has really helped me to deal with all of those shallow thoughts and judgmental thoughts. But then it was just difficult. But when my trials began over again, whenever the trials started, I was at home. And the place that my mama and daddy gave everything, sacrificed everything to build and to make safe and to make strong and welcoming and comforting and forgiving and embracing, this place. And honestly, it ain't even about the house. It's not about the physical setting. It's with them. I was with them. My parents, my brothers, my grandparents, my uncles, my aunts. I was where I could lay my head and cry. I could lay my head and rest. I could be opened up to receive wisdom. Whenever things got bad and trying, I was at home. I was in the safest place on earth. And so now, 7 months post moving, I moved away about 3 hours away now. This is my first time, aside from college, living on my own. I'm back at home. I'm just reminded of all the things that home represents. And I'm so grateful that I came back to find that it's still standing, still sturdy, still solid, still unmovable, still welcoming and embracing and loving and healing and still providing rest and happiness and safety and comfort. And that is what I think we have to remind ourselves about when we go through things, or when we have to do things that we don't like to do. There's something here that I need to see, that I need to learn how to use and how to access, so that whenever I go into whatever is next, I'm ready. When I go into whatever is next, even if I don't feel ready, I know how to protect myself. I know how to give myself pause. I know how to give myself space to breathe, space to rest. I know how to wrap myself up with thoughts of worthiness and thoughts of compassion. And that's what I get when I talk to the people that I love. The way that they speak to me is laced with compassion and kindness and empathy and love. I needed to sit in this place that God had blessed, and the same place that God lives, and feel Him, so that I could take what is home with me. It could be planted in my heart and carry it with me in every place, in whatever place comes next. Because what happens if I don't have it? What would have happened if I'd run to Dallas with the thought that I am undeserving of love? What would have happened if I would have been away from my foundation, been away from my physical living fortress, and begun to deal with suicidal thoughts? What would have happened if I didn't have home inside of me? Tonight was a good night. I went grocery shopping with my mama, but before we even left the house, my daddy had gone to the store. He got my favorite coffee cream. He don't like coffee cream in his coffee for real. He likes whipping cream, heavy whipping cream. But because I like coffee cream, he went to the store, he bought stuff for breakfast, and then he got my coffee cream. And then he came home and he built me a fire. I say me, he really built it for me and my mama. But I'm going to say me because I'm home right now. But we love, oh God, I love the smell of it. I love that seeing the fire burn just bring back so many memories. The first house we had with a fireplace, the same house my mama carried my brother. Like, I was old enough to remember her being pregnant. And even, him growing up, his first year of life being in that house. I just remember so many great things sitting around the fire. And I love how it feels. I love how it smells. I just get excited about this time of the year because we can have the fire going while we watch movies or whatever. It's just a perfect piece of comfort. So my daddy built us a fire, and my mama and I, we got up, we ate breakfast with my brothers who came over, and then me and my mama, we watched a Christmas movie, a good one too. And then we went to the store, we came back home, cooked, ate. In this house, we a basketball house, we a basketball family. So we did our tip-off tournament. My brother sitting on the coaching staff, me and my daddy in the stands, my mama at the boat, and my baby brother was in the stands, and my mama was at the table where they keep the book. We all together watching the game, come home after the game, rap about the game, weigh in, analyzing everything. And now I'm just sitting here on my bed thinking about how grateful I am to be home, and how grateful I am to have home stretching inside of me in this moment, in this second, as I lay in this house on this bed. I'm grateful that these people are safe, that they are well. I didn't come back to find disaster, but I came back. Everybody is smiling. Everybody is together. And just having a little bite of home is going to help me to go a little further. So with that being said, I am going to turn on another Christmas movie and call it a night.